Well, hello everyone, welcome to another video. It's me, Sal, and great to have you here. So, Pulchra, let's talk a little bit about her. So, I have been going back and forth approximately for 6 hours in how to talk about this character, as well as kind of playing and just kind of essentially handling the character. And honestly, I have a few choice words. Among things, definitely very surprised. Honestly, how people are kind of taking the character and not necessarily like hating on it. Because granted, I'm gonna be super real. Most of us were expecting more from Pulchra, and to be honest with you, myself included, I was hoping she was gonna be a 5-star, but at the same time, it would have been kind of a bit of a one of those things where I'm like, would it have really been better for her to be a 5-star? And at the same time, I hear that and I'm like, realistically, probably yes. She is easier to C6 than a 5-star. However, in saying that, the problem is not whether you can C6 a 4-star easier than a 5-star, but if she has the same utility with more time and more things really invested into it as a 4-star. But even throwing that aside, um, I want to talk a little bit about her, how she handles, how she's been handling for me, because this is, I guess, more like a peer-reviewed and tested and kind of like overall, because again, I have spent approximately like 3 to 4 hours kind of testing her out and her out specifically in many different scenarios. I have tested her out in HIA. I've tested her out in like more like long-term gameplay, such as kind of like Shield Defense. There's nothing super crazy because, again, I'm not that skilled, and again, I find it really obnoxious that I have to build an entire new set for her specifically. Granted, I didn't necessarily have the sets pre-built either way, but even then, the problem still is there where I have to grind and farm for something new. Granted, I know I have the stamina if I just don't play for like a month or 2 to 3. But the problem is there is then another, which is in practice, she handles very awkwardly. And what do I mean? Well, let me actually guide you through what her kit does, because I was super confused as to what exactly it did.
This is the path. My loyalty lies
And
with the winner.
at this point, I have built her up a little bit more, but it's still not as optimal as I want it to be. She has, and I don't know why specifically they asked you to build her with crit and crit damage. Granted, in my opinion, she actually does a lot more damage than I think she really should. But I'm all for extra damage, though, and on saying that, I think she kind of has this weird issue where I'm like trying to build her up to do, and I don't know if I should really build her up with like whatchamacallit, impact as much as like everybody else seems to be doing so, because here's the thing, right? When you build a character, most of us probably went with the training plan that kind of came with Hoya's suggestion. They expect you to build her with crit damage, expect you to have her with physical damage bonus and impact as well. And in my opinion, it is a bit of a weird road to really take with her having crit rate and crit damage. And the reason I say this is because she's a stun character, which confused me a little bit, but she does do her job fairly well. She does actually do more damage, and I think she should have probably been a bit of an attacker. I'm very thankful she's a stun character, however. I will say this, because she helps out a lot in actually outputting decent damage from a physical team, because I keep having this issue where everybody and their mom would like to kind of build, because here's the thing, I'm and this is kind of like probably a bit of a rough one, because you do not have the same synergy as you have with other characters, because like take for example, right? So if you want to go with like an ether build, or like a pure physical, or a pure ice build, you can do that, and some of the buffs in the game kind of work out better for Miyabi. But even then, we have like Miyabi has more versatility in that aspect, because she can actually, from my understanding, she can actually scale and have more disorders proc, regardless if the person, because she actually her frostburn effect actually, I believe, is affected by by other anomalies. It's not just her own stuff, I believe. Yeah, and it has to do with like with sugars. Yes. I do believe that's what it is. I'm pretty sure. I need to double check on that. Frost enemy build up and command against rate. Miyabi's crit rate up to maximum 80%. Yep, frostbite. That upon trigger break. No, is it this one? I thought she actually. Regardless, it's not like this is not the character I'm reviewing. I could be sharing false information. I apologize for that, but as far as I know, she does not really need anything else other than like boosting her stats and boosting like from different characters, like which include Kanami Yabi, for example. But setting that aside, gotta find myself in my chair. Back to Pulchra, right? So Pulchra has this little bit of an awkward thing, which again, I almost have her maxed out, and the reason I haven't maxed her out is because it is definitely a bit of an expensive thing, and I was building and I have been farming for her gear for quite a while, and a lot of it is definitely a little bit easier with the current event because they have a burnout event, which basically means you can use double your stamina, which in all honesty is I think cool, but also really kind of annoying because I'm like, oh, so here's a character. Maybe it would have been nice to get like double drops, but no, they really just make you be able to consume double stamina, which is cool, but in my opinion, it's a bit of a kind of cop out. But it's nice because we don't farm as much. But even then, so we have one of two things, right? So her kit is okay, and I'm not like it's nothing crazy. I think she handles well. She attacks well. She does like her entire ordeal. She attacks and she does her stuff. She has pretty decent like handling as a character, which is really hard to say for some other ones because I think. One of the biggest things about her compared to take for example Miyabi versus like even her. Miyabi's more on field, but she doesn't really need to be on field. Like Miyabi needs to be on field like for quite a bit. That or somebody can help her with energy recharge. But the thing about her, she is basically kind of just like in the line of just passive damage generation. And it is one of those roads that I don't know if it's necessarily good for the game. Because again, it does help with like stun because she's doing like, and I don't know if any other character really does this, but as far as I know, there's no character. Actually, I guess Rena does that. So it probably has been in the game a little bit because you can proc her E, and then you can swap out. And by here I mean her like special ability here, her special attack. You can proc her E, then swap onto another character, and it's kind of like an off-field thing. And her stuff definitely feels more like important because she actually causes stun. But like setting aside the glaze that I have been doing for her because I'm again love the design, love the aesthetic. She's a cool character. My biggest annoyance with her was probably the confusion in my face when I tried to actually use her as a regular character. And what I mean, so her abilities, it is all these ones. It's her core skills. Has to do with Hunter's Guide, which what Hunter's Guide is basically literally just like her attacking on her own, basically, right? Whatever ability is. I don't think she actually gets hit during this thing, but how the state gets procced is she must first. Actually, let me double check.
My loyalty lies with the winner.
Not even double check. Let me show you what I mean. So Hunter's Guide is essentially like a kind of like a activated ability that is passive and is activated by a secondary character. What do I mean secondary character? Well, let me see. We're gonna go here, British Archive, and obviously not everybody cares about ZenlessZoneZero at the moment. It has been called who cares about the game at the moment, and I will grant you that is quite fair. At the moment, I only mostly care about her. But again, I'm running into the same issue that most Play Universe games are running, where I'm like trying to farm something, but it feels really tedious. But I will tell you this: it's actually probably worse than Gensing from Ring FX, because it definitely feels like I'm like outputting way more effort. And granted, it's like a game that's supposed to be a little bit more skill based, but the problem is it definitely feels like unnecessarily hard for no reason. But even setting that aside, we're gonna have this.
Let's stir up some trouble.
And we're gonna deploy. Obviously, these characters are not max. What I'm trying to show is Hunter's Guide. This is, and before you get confused about why my setup is a little bit awkwardly, there's a reason for it, because her kit is very bizarre. So we're gonna hit this on unlimited energy. And then we're gonna hit Hunter's Guide. So what Hunter's Guide is, it loads up the top left. It allows up to what is that, 8 hits. That is C6. I believe it's much less than in the beginning, but once you hit Hunter's Guide, right, so we're gonna hit E. You then get proc assist, and once you proc assist, as you can tell, we're in a different character. But why am I in a different character? You may be asking. Well, it's because of this.
Let's make this quick.
And every time you attack, she actually attacks. Which again, fine thing. She actually does pretty decent damage, honestly. Probably more than I do typically. But the main issue is not so much whether it does that, but the issue for me comes from her skills themselves, which basically make you go to the previous character, which in practice looks somewhat like this. So
My loyalty lies with the winner.
let me actually show you what I had to do in order for my playability to be smooth. And I generally do not understand why they did this, and it can really be fixed by just kind of swapping your keybinds, but I am going to be so for real, it is very bizarre that I'm now basically hitting backwards. So normally you have spacebar on PC, right, to swap to the next character. That is what you do. Even now, right, so the next character is from left to right. So Pulchra, then goes Piper. That is not the order that I actually want. So the actual order, if you ever, not so much choose to, but if you if I want to have my proper and optimal rotation, it would be 1, 2, and 3. So we have Pulchra goes first, then Jane Doe, then goes Piper. And the reason why I have Piper go last is because I want her to help me build up Pulchra's next charge. Because she will take so long to build up otherwise, and even with energy recharge, it takes her like a hot second. So you basically have, right, so we have this, right? So in practice, you hit so you hit the E. Alright, hold on. So you
Okay.
focus here, you hit E, and then we gotta wait. Then we hit. Wait, hold on, did I actually swap that up properly?
Wanna be my...
Let's take a break.
I had to swap it out, then the rest didn't swap it. So, in normal practice, you hit E. I gotta wait a little bit. And then you hit E, or then you swap, and then you swap to Jane Doe, and then you would swap to Piper because then you'd this would allow me to kind of build up her like that spin-up move, and during that, it would allow me to. Let me actually see if I can do this one right. So let's see. We're gonna go enemy level 70, and then we're gonna do something a little bit tougher, I think. Guard and Mark 2 is probably fine.
Piper, I'll drive.
So, in practice, would hit E. You may be noticing an issue, and why am I waiting? Then you hit E again on Jane Doe, then we switch to Pulchra, then after, we swap to Piper to then be able to use this move, which allows me time to build up Pulchra's. Hold on, I know I need to lower the volume a little bit, but it allows me time and it allows me to build up Pulchra's next not so much skill, but it is the charge on her skill, which as you can see is like almost done. But that is the entire purpose of me having the rotation assist. It also allows me to get the full benefit of the passive that is from what's it called? Let me check base. It allows me to get the most benefit out of Piper's full stacks and such. And why do I want this? Well, it gives me an extra 18% attack, extra 18% damage, right? So that is the entire reason that I would like to be that rotation, because it then allows me to go to Piper really quickly, because it goes, it goes Piper, Pulchra, hit E, and then swap to Jane Doe, and then I will instantly have like an 18% damage bonus on top of having Pulchra on the side doing a little bit of extra damage, while I build up Piper's skill ultimately again, because her stuff takes quite a bit to build up, and I had really thought that my issue was actually with Piper, because in the third slot she would kind of swap over instead of Jane Doe, which was kind of bizarre, because in the text itself of the game, and this is in the game itself. Let me. I don't know if it's a moveset. Let's skip some detail stats guide. Yeah, right here. So, in the game, whenever a quick assist is procced or triggered, this happens if you're staggered or because of other external factors, such as even Seth, for example, causes you to trigger a quick assist. But what this quick assist does is it basically lets you do a little bit of extra damage in case you're like knocked out. It helps you kind of get out of that stun or whatever, which basically helps you kind of either attack cancel or just kind of helps you with doing more extra damage in there. But in reality, what it really does is it blocks you from being able to select your character on the next tab because of Pulchra. Pulchra, unfortunately, has this little itty bit of text that I kept skipping over because I'm blind. Not really, but it feels like I am, because I kept upgrading her passive, and even her core skill has this. But essentially, what her passive does, it's upon triggering a quick upon clicking E on her, she instantly procs the quick assist, which obviously helps with a little bit of damage. Which again, a little bit extra damage from that, and helps you kind of like swap to another character. But the problem is that what it does is it doesn't actually trigger a quick assist like it normally would, as in to the next character. It procs a quick assist to the previous character, which is some bizarre shit to do. Because now, instead of me going in proper rotation form, which is whatchamacallit, Pulchra, Jane Doe, and then Piper, it now proceeded to do Pulchra, Piper, and then Jane Doe. Or maybe it doesn't actually, because in practice, what it looks like is a little bit like this. Unlimited energy, we're going to go with that. I'll click this. Hit spacebar and then assess.
Sure.
Interesting. So in quick, it doesn't actually show it properly, but hold on. So it's a little bit hard to notice, but when we proc Pulchra, we hit her E, right? On the bottom right here, you're noticing that I'm swapping to Piper. And you may be asking yourself, well, why is it proccing Piper? Well, here's the thing. It's pretty simple. When it says previous character, in line, what it means, you go, instead of 1, 2, 3, in like the rotation, you go 1, 3, 2. Why is it going 1 through 2? Is because of her passive. which I think is kind of stupid, in my opinion. I generally do not understand what is even the point of that. And again, it is like the difference between kind of clicking 1 and 2 in like a character rotation, which is again very bizarre. In my opinion, it is very odd, and you can honestly kind of keybind those again. But the problem you end up running into is that you have to rebind these to the next character or like a different character, and in rotation, this in like in an actual physical rotation where you're trying to just essentially fight and be skilled, you end up running into this issue where you're in an awkward spot where you keep trying to use Pulchra, then Jane Doe, but then you're hit with Piper. And really thinking about it, if you're going back in a rotation, you already lost time, in my opinion. Why would you lose time? Every second counts in Zenless Zone Zero, because some of these matches and some of the events takes like an eternity to fight. So if you're trying to do a quick rotation and it takes you like an extra like 40 seconds, you're now doing it wrong. And what am I saying you're doing it wrong? It's pretty simple. You're trying to fight something and then you fucked up. So what this looks like in practice is something like this. Hold on. We're gonna go do the latest, most, the latest HIA, or not the latest HIA, the latest outpost. Which again, I still think I don't know what it is with these boss fights, taking so long, but it is definitely something. And let me actually show you, right? So we're gonna try a couple of things to have like. I wouldn't necessarily say like a baseline, but to have like a way to kind of relate, right? So we're gonna use Miyabi, obviously not necessarily like a great starting point, right? Why am I using Miyabi is because I don't want to fight so much, but we're gonna use Miyabi. Obviously, you have options. The reason I'm using Miyabi, she's strong as hell, and it doesn't actually take me so much time to kind of show you how fast it really is. So this is a standard rotation for her, and again, in Genshin. And I'm playing that, it takes me about the same amount of time in some of these rotations, and I've even optimized it as hard as this. And that is without me really trying. It's more like just kind of sometimes spamming buttons, which again, the same kind of thing takes me the same amount of time. But then I kind of run into this issue where
It's over.
Again, it is much. I'm still messing up a little bit here. And again, this is with me messing up a bunch of different times.
Focusing. My blade is already.
I could definitely have done this faster, and I have done this definitely faster before. My fastest timing on this is 38. But just to show you that I can do this much faster, this is my base point of my best team. Granted, I have less investment on the Pulchra, and the kind of like the Pulchra into Piper team, right? Which again. It's fine. I understand, like, each team has, like, is better at some other things. Miyabi is just better at everything, so I'm not necessarily wanting to use her as a comparison. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because when I compared me fighting with Pulchra and me fighting with Pulchra in the awkward way, it is definitely a bit show-telling what ended up happening and why this is bad, especially if you're like a new player. And you're trying to use her, and she's confusing your gameplay. And in practice, by the way, this is like the proper orientation of the team. But since I'm using the standard rotation, what I normally would do, and what most people probably would have done in my case, because that's what I did, and obviously there's probably better teams than Pulchra and this kind of physical team, but this is my team, and I realized this is a bit of an issue, because upon testing this, I was so confused why it was taking me 2 minutes to fight this boss. Again, the reason I even brought up Miyabi is because in practice, it's not that this team is bad, It's just that not knowing about the rotation and even reading the rotation, it is really awkward. It is awkward to play, and again, since the way you play the game as a base is really without knowing that you can go back and forth. I didn't know that, and I was kind of upset about them before, but setting that aside, let's actually get to playing. And again, I'm gonna play my best. I'm actually gonna shut up for here. We're actually just gonna play the game as best as I can, right?
You got it.
Okay.
Gotta keep the claws sharp.
Going the extra mile. Buckle up. Wait for me. Out of my way.
It's over now. All right, go stay focused. Special sneak attack. Let's play a little.
This'll be painless. Psych. Now, you're the prey. No escape.
A little gift.
Sinful. Kick into gear. Buckle up.
Gotta keep the claws sharp.
How do you like me now?
Alright. Now, other than the fact that I played definitely a little bit awkwardly, this, in my opinion, and I won't lie to you, this has been my best performance yet, and that's because I know I have to switch back. But in practice, which again, I definitely feels like I was like definitely a little bit confused, and that's because I was, because I forget. Oh, I hit spacebar, and then I'm like, oh, my rotation is kind of fucked. And the reason I say this is because I learned this the hard way, of me having to play it. And realistically, the easiest way to go really around this without actually affecting the gameplay so much, because the rotation can be so much smoother, by the way. And it really has to do with more of like the choice of sending you back to the previous character, at least on PC, and you can go back and forth. But in reality, in my opinion, it should be 1 2 3 1 2 3. It's like dancing 1 2 3 1 2 3. If you know your pacing, you can really go with like like it can be so much smoother. And again, I definitely feel like I'm like I'm not trying to undersell it, but I do have like previous gameplay of me, of just me being like really awkward. And actually, let me show you. I'm gonna pull it up right now. I realized I didn't pause this, but okay. So let me kind of go back a little bit. But there was nothing that really happened because it kind of my video kind of didn't replay anything. All right. So this is before I really understood what was happening. Kind of using them normally, using attack. This is obviously me trying definitely a lot harder than I was before. Because it definitely feels like I wasn't trying hard enough in the thing. But as you may be noticing, And here's my face of confusion as to what was happening. And again, the rotation isn't going smoothly because I don't know what's happening. There is a reason, like, everything's happening, but I'm noticing, like, Pulchra doing, like, extra damages and stuff. Like, I'm not saying it was bad damage, as Miyabi is, like, is essentially gaslighting me into thinking that my characters are like, not built properly. I'm like, yeah, they're not. Not really. Which again, as you may be noticing, I'm kind of like here and there stuck in like limbo, confused as to what's happening. And the reason behind it is because I don't know what the fuck was going on. Why am I switching back and forth between different characters? And I'm noticing this now. And it took me a full day, and that's the reason this review took. So this review and really a bit of a warning for those of you that are pulling for Pulchra. You are using her backwards, and the reason why, if you're confused why your rotation isn't going well, is because it goes 1-2. It goes 1-3-2, is how it goes. Rather than the, and again, the reason I'm saying 1-3-2 is because that's the order. It's first character you have in your slot, then it goes back into the third slot into the third slot character, and then it goes to the, and then you can hope that you remember that you need to go to the secondary character. And this is something I think is very important, and again, in my opinion, it is something that certain characters do not have the proper rotation, and the reason fixing my character going backwards is because then it just makes the order 3-2-1, which that's totally fine. The reason that's totally fine is because I just have to reorganize like the roster. It is very awkward to do, but it works. It works well. But the fact that I have to go out of my way to do this, and it kind of really confused my gameplay in the beginning, it's very bizarre. But let's finish this up. Yep, that wall. You know what that wall is? That wall is me being confused. The wall of like, and again, I do not understand. Actually, no, I understand. The reason why some of these characters are have an electric barrier is because this stage is specifically for Ambi, which, in my opinion, a little bit annoying, to put it lightly. But the fact that Hoshimi Miyabi can kind of get this done fairly fast is really funny. And again, it is one of those things that, like, my fastest time on that stage is 38 seconds. And I don't know if I showed this before. I don't know if I showed this in here, but my fastest rotation is 38 seconds. And as you may recall, in my like, at least that I showed in video, my timing on that is 43 seconds. This is me testing them out. Granted, they're not as built as they are now, but even then, the only change I've done is about 30 seconds from then and now. Now, I will show you how optimal the rotation can be, because it can get much faster, which is so weird. Again, running into this issue where I'm like being confused by why am I swapping between characters. As you can tell, I'm swapping back and forth between Jane and her, which is not bad because I need to go with Jane second, but I need to go back to Piper. But my order is wrong, so I can't go back to Piper. I would just keep going back to Pulchra, which is awkward. Which to me basically makes the game just a game between Jane and Pulchra, which, again, playing the game on duo mode is fine if you know you're playing on duo. That's not an issue. I've played duo before. I used to basically run not a Pulchra. I used to run Jane Doe with Pauletta Bellabog. That's fine. However, I'm running a three-stage team, and I was like, is whatever. I'm trying to run them, but it's super awkward. when I don't know I'm playing a two player game at this moment, or a two character game. I forgot to mention, this is my second try. I do believe I tried this before. This is 2 minutes 20 seconds. The run that this is obviously after some time. The only thing I really upgraded is Jane's stuff, and I also gave Pulchra in the beginning. I gave her more energy regen. She has better stats now, so I expected her to be better, and she is about 30 seconds ish better at the moment. But that doesn't really matter. And I do not think this is actually how the video of me actually attempting it properly, which is where I'm going to show you. Hold on, if I have it on. Okay. And again, by showing you, I mean literally physically showing you. We're gonna do this, and all I'm gonna be changing. Okay, so this is the preset. We're gonna click on this, on space, and we're gonna swap our key bindings. And again, this is, in my opinion, the easiest thing you can really do to kind of counteract being confused by how she handles, especially if you're not aware that these, because a PC. Here's the thing, right? I've been playing this game 7 months, give or take. I did not know you could switch to another character. I don't know you could swap back and forth between characters. I didn't know that. The only way I knew that is because I played on PS5. PS5 you can go back and forth with the trigger buttons, which is really weird, because that's the only way to find that out. The game never really tells you that there's another way to kind of swap back and forth, but it does have a way to swap back and forth. That was one of my issues with the game before, that I couldn't actually swap back and forth, and then I found that you could, which makes the game easier. But it is still very awkward. Setting that aside, let me show you the optimal rotation of Pulchra, Jane, and Piper. Keep this in mind. I swapped the order of these characters, and I swapped the thing. Let me double check that I actually did that. I don't know if I saved it either. Yep. Now we're going. We switched characters previous. We're gonna click on that. We're gonna click on this. Again, I swapped two inputs on the keyboard, and I swapped the order of my characters. It is. Nope, I didn't do that one here. It kind of switches back and forth. Equal preset. So 1, 3, 2. Alright, this is 1, 2, 3. And what I want is 1, 2, 3. But here's the fun part. It is going to be 1, 2, 3. Watch this. And my best time before now was about, and I'll give it like a word. It's like about minute 30.
Stay focused. A little gift.
I'll make it painless.
On the road.
All right, go pink.
Found your weakness.
This gotta do it.
This prey is mine. You better thank me.
Hit him where it hurts. Let's make this quick.
It's over now.
Coming through.
found your weakness. Here's a taste of the abyss.
Piper, perfect shot. Make it fun for me.
This gotta do it.
How do you like me now? Want some more?
Now, I won't lie to you. This was bad. I definitely choked a little bit. And still, it's 11:46. It is still technically faster. Now, let me actually show you, because this was me like choking a little bit here and there. Let me actually pull up the video. Okay, it seems I forgot to actually clip the video, so I'm very sad to say that this is my current fastest time. I do believe my fastest time is 1:30, and again, this definitely can be optimized. This is definitely a skill issue here, because I've definitely done this a little bit faster, in my opinion, and even still, again, it's still technically faster. I feel like I definitely choked. Now, this is definitely better because of optimizations, and this could have definitely gone faster because of multiple things. And again, it's a mixture of damage and just not having as much investment. But the fact that I actually know what's happening next is my biggest kind of thing. I cut down the time by 4 seconds. If I had played the way I did on the previous video, I now cut down 45 seconds. It's not 45, it's 35. 35, my bad, I can't do math. 34 seconds speaking here, because it's like 15, that's 20 minus, or 20 plus 14 seconds, so it's 34 seconds. It's 34 seconds, and that is my experience so far. And again, I think it's not so much of an issue of, and again, it's just kind of like why they're making you like have this awkward rotation. Again, I don't mind if like the whole, like if you kind of swap back and forth the keys and stuff, because it's really simplistic. But if I have to do that every single time I use this team, I'm gonna be screwed when I do that stuff in a Shield Defense Force. And again, I haven't really done super crazy on stuff. But again, I've done this before. How do I put this? Okay. So I've done this, right? So I beat 1-2. I beat them one Pulchra, the other one. It is weird if your rotation is 1-2-3, and then you swap you literally swap your controls, and now it's 1-3-2, or it's 1-3-2. Yeah, that's what it is. It's 1-3-2. And the problem is that in practice, it would probably look like we're gonna go to the first one, right? And we have our backwards controllers. I just want to do the first one quickly. Nope, that's not the first one. I need to go to have this and this. And again, I've beaten this with awkward teams. Enemy resistance to ice. This doesn't have any resistance to ice. So we're gonna do team 1. Again, this is kind of just to showcase it again, right? So enemy weakness, electric, fire. I just want to show you like what ends up happening is since you switch your controls. If you one day forget, so the second one has to be the physical one. So we're gonna do preset config. That's since I have my controls awkward, and again, it doesn't really matter because Miyabi carries. I go from Lycon to Miyabi, but if I was in a actually more optimal team, you would just accidentally skip your middle character, which could be view various buffs in the beginning. Which again doesn't really matter with Miyabi, but if you're in a team that is not even in a team, if you're in like an event that is definitely a little bit harder,
challenge.
Again, what is it called? Yeah, if you're in a
Okay.
yeah, if you're in an event that is definitely a little bit harder than that, we're just gonna finish this up really quickly, right? You now have what do we call it? Okay, so if you're in like the decay one or the decay zone or whatever it's called, you now have a different issue, which is, as you can tell, okay. So let me actually give you like the actual example, right? So say you're using Sokaku in the middle, you would just skip Sokaku, and Sokaku gives you buffs. If I now skip Sokaku, now I have to redo a 15 to 20 minute event because I completely forgot that my characters are swapped. It doesn't really do much of a difference in if you don't have your third character in the in the Yellow Zero Zone. But if you're in like if you're in the Wither domain, right? Because I think it like lots of ways to like the same stuff. But if you're in the Wither domain, you just okay. So what does it say for my? Does it say my best timing on this? I don't think it does. But if I just spend half an hour trying to clear one of these events, I now have to spend another half an hour because I just died at the last boss. Because I forgot that my key bindings were wrong. Granted, you could just pretty quickly switch them, but it is a bit of an obnoxious if you're like confused why you keep dying. But that might just be me being like a little bit of a situation because I was very confused about how she handles. Again, I don't read. I just use the characters. When I start having issues is when I read. I do not need to know the kit of the character. All I need to know is, does she stun? Yes. What do I need to build her? With stun. Okay, build her with stun. Is she not able to use her skills fast enough? Throw some energy region. I don't care. That is literally all I really have to think about. It is something so simplistic. Do I like the character? Spend like 16,000 polychrome on it. It's whatever. As a matter of fact, the only reason I ever think in this game is when I'm having issues, which is funny to me. Watch. Setting that aside, hopefully this helps somebody, and I do apologize for going on as long as it did. I'm doing this video because and it took me so long because I was trying to figure out if you want to use this character, you're gonna be confused. Just realize that. And if you want to use her in like, and if you're like I can just switch back and forth, and if you're like a person that already knows this, kudos for you. I was confused for about 2 days. It took me 2 days to figure it out because I was so upset that I kept dying. I didn't read. People do not read when they're upset. You have an issue, you don't care. I just want the issue to be solved. Why is the issue not solved? And you only start reading after you calm down, so I ended up spending 2 days wasting my time figuring out that she's awkward. Her, like, the way she handles is great, but her skills make her combat really awkward if you're not switching your inputs, and I think that's bad. And here's another thing: if you're a character, the person that goes to the left, well, you're probably a console player, or you know, I don't know, like mobile players are gonna have the same issue. I don't know what to tell you. I'm pretty sure, like, because I didn't necessarily run into that issue because I just again, you spam buttons and you kind of like kick ass or whatever, take a names or whatever. But again, very awkward fighting. This is just kind of like, again, like a fair one. I feel this way, but I like it. I like Pulchra's character design. The awkwardness really comes from the quick assist effect, which I do not understand why they make you do that. You can already just spam the spacebar, and if it means you don't actually have to waste like a assist point, that's cool. And that actually, what that means is that a quick assist will actually save you more than once, which is kind of nuts if you do not fuck up. But setting that aside, and again, I definitely I've played Miyabi definitely more skillfully before. It is more of an issue of can I talk and help you at the same time? But even then, hopefully this was helpful. Again, feel free to leave the comments below if you guys were new about this, if you actually read, unlike me. Again, it is a very like I would definitely say it's like a very awkward issue to have because the character itself handles well, like in like click click attack manner, which is really funny. She handles like similar to Jane Doe, but again, an awkward character to play because of being forced to move to the left instead of the right. All I'm saying. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this video, do whatever. I'm not your dad. If you summon on her because you like her, I did too. That's why I'm a little bit more upset. That's why I spent two days trying to figure her out. And hopefully this helps somebody. And if not, well, it is what it is. Y'all have a wonderful day and stay solid. Bye-bye.